Welcome to NBA Film Room. Today we'll be talking about the Houston Rockets. They are 10th in offensive rating, and a lot of what they do to get to that 10th offensive rating is not very traditional in a good offensive sense. And I kind of just want to break down all the things that they're doing right to make up for lack of shot making, for better terms. So here's them playing against the fifth ranked defensive rating team in the Grizzlies. So Jalen Green, I think it's important to start. He's been on a burner all world burst, all world leaping ability. A lot of the times it doesn't translate to necessarily great scoring numbers, efficiency wise. That's a hell of a shot, but you know it's been doing that lately, so they're maybe running a little bit hot. I think, and this guy right here, Fred, is very underrated as a player because early in the season he was having his shooting struggles. I think they've slowly quailed. His hands are elite, just instantly knows that, picks up on tendencies. Um, a man is stamped to John Moran, right? Those are two A+ athletes right there. Fred VanVleet's hands are ridiculous, and I think a big part of what makes this team, really shine defensively is they have so many guys that are defensive playmakers. Obviously, you got those guys who can, they're very athletic. They can make plays in transition, but again, all world. Sometimes he forgets that he's an all world athlete, but he is. The willingness to switch this, I think, it makes not something I love. It ends up getting a paint touch, and you have Alpi, he's been better, right? But I don't love this. Of course, you still see the activity with a man tagging roller. Brooks' ability to identify off ball here. So like they have Santi come set this off ball screen. Brooks, his ability, of course, he's played with Memphis, so he kind of knows how they play basketball. This is very un-Grizzly like too, to really stack this side of the floor. Brooks identifies it, points it out to Fred. He probably didn't have to point it out to Fred VanVleet, but to say, hey, you're gonna have 2-on-1 here. And he identifies this and then is instantly helping. It wasn't as hard as he probably could have played it, and as hard as Dylan Brooks will typically play those type of things. With that just ability to point things out, I think the embracing of this guy, a man, I think obviously they had already embraced his talents, but just embracing his ability to just dribble into traffic, playing him at the 4 too, I think is an important thing because he can survive there defensively. I mean, just look at this pass. Looking over to the corner, Bane goes to cover the corner. Yep, nobody's there. And then, for concerns about him spacing wise, next to Alpi, they're playing off him here. Fred VanVleet sees it, instantly sees this. NBA point guard right here. He sees these type of things. Corner pass is obviously not going to be there. Amen realizes he's the guy spacing here. Cuts right on time with Fred VanVleet. Like they know. High IQ NBA players, they know. This play is kind of crazy for me because there's not many teams that are gonna run big pick and roll. Amen. I talked about him before. They stamped him on Jaw. Jaw's not on the floor. They put him on Jaren. Ends up being a win more turnover, right? So many athletes, they can just all fly around the floor. Whitmore, Eason, Thompson, Jay Tate can fly around a ton. Jalen Green, when he's locked in playing defense, he flies around the floor. Transition offense, I think, is a big part of buoying their offense. There's a bunch of Jalen Green layups in this game that I'm not going to keep in there, but using the athleticism that they have to get easy points in transition off of their great defense is just a big part of this team. And Jalen Brooks just walls up. And oh my God, what a ridiculous player this is. Slides with him. Obviously, he's going to slide with Jarrett Jackson. He's, big guy. Taking a bump, gets the deflection. And look how quick. Look how quick Whitmore reacts to this compared to Aaron Holiday and Scottie Pippen and Luke Kennard. Look how quick, and they're all looking. They're all looking. Just look how quick he, so much faster than everybody else. Just there's power to having these type of athletes that just they just see everything like super quickly. And look, like sometimes it's gonna end up in stuff like this where Whitmore's trying to jump that lane. But then they have the ability with they'll have Tate, they'll have Tari, they'll have other guys here, men who will come over. They can give up this switch, right? They obviously want to keep Jay Sean on John Morant, but then Whitmore has the speed to recover there. Like, yeah, I know John Morant could have probably attacked there anyway, but Alpre's engaged. He's ready. He probably sees him. And then they wall off defensively, right? This was the original guy on Jaw. Obviously, this ends up in a bucket, but I mean, Jesus. All through their roster, they have these type of athletes, and I think the big part for them was the defense or the offensive side of the floor, like maximizing the results of their defense. I think that's a big part of Şengün. Again, we get these transition buckets, but yeah, we don't get a great angle of this play, but just an excellent contest at the rim. Like it looks crazy, but perfect hands up form from Alperen Şengün. Like awesome play right here. Like this play recognition is kind of crazy. Like Shaw throws it. I don't know how he doesn't see Şengün coming up, but he just I mean he jumped on that. And that's I don't know, that's more of just an instinctual play, not much X's and O's to take away from that, but even their unathletic guys are making these type of plays. It goes all the way up and down their roster. They become a wrecking force on the defensive side of the floor. And I mean, if you want to know what type of run this guy can go on, they run like these staggers into a DHO, but it ends up, Thompson cuts out. It doesn't really engage Brandon Clarke, but it stops this switch from Ja. He needs to switch here realistically, but it's what happens sometimes with these high active or low activity guards. Look at this shot, and then that's a crazy difficult shot. It looks wide open, but then this one's even and one. Damn, man, make these every time, please. It's awesome when you do it. And right when he's rolling, right when he's rolling, this is the type of pressure that you see to him. Like this type of stuff you see out of the, you know, your 1-1 guys. And this pass right here, I think is the big part of it. Live dribble, not live dribble, but in the act of running, throwing it to Şengün there. He doesn't really so a lot of the times he doesn't really do it. His consistency with that isn't always there. This cut by Thompson as well. Awesome, man. Right? You don't see this because the ball never ends up in Amen Thompson's hands. And, Şengün's the one who ends up getting the assist or the almost assist and then the offensive rebound. Amen Thompson with the cut through here opens up this wide open pass because they either give up that cut or right here to Amen Thompson or to Cam Whitmore, shoots the shot. They hustle more than you. It actually ended up going to them anyway. No, nothing the defense can do there. And just this I guess dexterity, almost not necessarily dexterity in the pure definition word, but the ability for them to do this with Şengün. I guess flexibility is more of the word. Go screen it. Yeah, Zach Edey's never been in this position to know what to do. Ja Morant, yeah, he has no idea what to do with that. So what ends up happening with these lineups is you have, Amen Thompson, who typically guys would or teams would like to hide, their low activity guards like Ja Morant onto, these defensive prototype wings. Except he's such a physical specimen that you kind of just still have to stamp him on, your primary point guard and Fred VanVleet, and Jesus, look how quick he gets bumped, and look how quick he gets off the ground. Like Jaw's already into the shot. Like shots up. Amen was on the ground still, up so quick. Like such a, and we measure vertical leap. We need to measure like explosiveness time, and obviously there's some handle stuff there. You need to clean that up. But yeah, like the quickness that somebody gets off the ground, I think is just as important. I think a lot of their guys kind of have that. Oh my god, yeah. So this is a typical like pistol action. They set this screen from VanVleet. I mean, this guy's running. Yeah, he's running now, and this is what having them have to put these wing-sized players on the wing-sized players. Now Fred VanVleet's over here. You put Ja Morant in this screen action. You have more skill on the action with your offensive side of for you on the offensive side of the floor. And some of their worst defenders have to defend these actions now. Ja Morant just nowhere near that. And Wells has no shot. Like, are there 4 guys faster than number 4? Are there? I don't know. He touches it first at the Toyota logo. Yeah, crazy shot making. Like Jesus Christ, when he's on, he's on. Yeah. So again, we've had a couple minutes of just insane shot making back to back for teams, but here, this pass up here from Jalen Green, a lot of the time he just keeps going here, right? Doesn't make this pocket pass. It's perfect too. I think another part of it, it's perfect. Sengun gets like catches it in a triple threat position. I mean that's crazy, offensive skill from your center there too. And yeah, I mean, he's got the Josh Hart to him. Corner crash, very typical. Memphis is ready for it. They're a good defensive team. They know that Houston's going to do this. But just to take it out of his hands like that. And just I think Whitmore as well, especially since he's come up, I think he's seeing the floor a lot better than he had a year ago. He sees this earlier, obviously. He sees the one pass away right now, creates this better angle. I think before, like a year ago, he would have tried to make that pass right there. What driving here does, it engages Brandon Clarke. So now Brandon Clarke can't be the guy to go recover over to Aaron Holiday. So right here, I mean, another key. Houston makes a shot. They end up getting an attack here. Great contest, to say the least. And then he's out of position here. Like Memphis should get this rebound. They have 2 bigs, and the only guy that's really back here is Jalen Green. Steven Adams just contested the shot. Like just this fight ability, the 4. He's engaged. He's working hard. Steven Adams, obviously a big guy, and then dude, this is where they get in their offense. These athletes in transition, they can run and they are skilled. So here you have this high pick and roll. You get this advantage. They have Sandy and drop now. Attack him. And just this intelligence from Thompson here. Just to get to the right spot on the floor. And him and VanVleet just have ridiculous chemistry. It's either this or this open 3. Yeah, teams are going to try to take that away, but some guys just have this burst to them where you can play it, but you still might not take it away. And I think this off-ball play too, very important to see what they're trying to do. They understand that they want to attack Steven Adams in the pick and roll. VanVleet, great NBA point guard. He understands the game, man. He calls it out and says, hey, pre-switch this, blows up the play. Wells is a great player. Attacks. Does he block that? Like, look where Amen Thompson is when this shot Jalen Wells will use the floor. Amen Thompson's on the other side. Sends it off. They're running. Yeah, they're more athletic than you. Yeah. There you go. And again, this when it's going well, look at the attention they send to this guy. Yep. Clark's going. Wells, I think some of Wells falling here probably helps. I mean, just the identification that as soon as Wells goes with Green. Yep. Hits it. Look at the roll. Yep. Another NBA vet understanding with a very mentally developed young player. Just this understanding that it's not there with every player that doesn't shoot, right? You know, there were a ton of NBA players who couldn't shoot that if they had the feel for the game that Amen Thompson does, they would still be very effective NBA players. Shot making. Shot making is key, right? On this possession right here, I understand the result is a made layup, but look at what the defense is doing. Nothing, right? They're looking, but they're saying, hey, 12 is great. We have a guy we think we can stamp him. I mean, look at this finish. Look at it. Like, it's crazy. But the fact that they think that this guy can stick with him, and that's their game plan, to have him just stick on him and send nothing else, I think is big. Right here, these are skills that aren't highlighted very often. This pass, this is a busted play. Nothing's about to happen here. Defense is licking their chops. They're going to shoot a contested three. We're going to get a rebound and run in transition. That's what the defense is thinking. Attack, pick and roll. This pass is like perfect. Look at it. Yep. 3-2 guys trying to kick the ball. Sengun can rush here. He could probably hurry. I think he sees Jaren. The pump fake sells the position. And just look at this shot making. Oh my God. Offhand. Just these extra abilities that these guys have on the offensive end. They just are so good at using their unique skills with the Thompson's cutting and Jalen Green's just great athleticism that I don't think they always tap into perfectly, but when they do, it looks awesome. And just Van Vliet's just perfectionism with his passing ability. This attention. Yeah, 10 guys get that attention. Yep, all game. This cut right here. Ball gets knocked away. He knows he's still there. What ended up being I think a pick and roll here. They trap Bane. Brooks came over to help. Jalen Green does a great job here tagging the roller or tagging a cutter. It's hard. They didn't show the whole clip. And then just this recovery is quick. I like this type of engagement from him. He, previously would not show this type of stuff. They might make the shot still, but that defensive process is a lot better than it had typically been. And then look at this. There's the coverage here. I think because it's Jaren and Jaren plays this super aggressively, I don't even know if there's a pass there. He just beats it. Like that's just crazy shot making. When he's on, he's on. They end up getting the win there against Memphis. Really good team to get a win against. I think they're about the same place in the standings. Jalen Green, when his shot making is on, it really changes the calculus of things. You saw Memphis playing them a lot more aggressively with Jalen Green ball screens. He ends up making the right passes. I think that's the swing skill for him that has really been popping besides just the shot making, because previously the shot making there, it's come and gone. But when it is on, teams can typically get out of it pretty quickly by sending extra attention to him because he hasn't done very well passing out of those situations. But specifically against Memphis, it looked a lot better. That is really amplified with guys like Amen and Sengun and Fred, who could really pass out of those situations and really capitalize when teams send too much pressure to him. And I think it's a wonderful thing. on that in the half court side of things. On the defensive end of the floor, keeping Sengun around the rim, not giving up unnecessary switches is a key part for them. Securing rebounds as well. They don't give up many offensive rebounds, and they force a ton of turnovers with all the, the athleticism that I highlighted for them, even if, sometimes teams are still going to make shots. And that happened a lot against Memphis. But then once they secure rebounds, they have their athletes. They run in transition, and that really buoys their offense by getting them easy transition looks against, teams that really, they can have more skill than you on the offensive side of the floor. But transition basketball it's the NBA combine at that point. So Houston's legit. I can't wait to see them in the playoffs. It's going to be rugged. It's going to be fun. It might get ugly at times, but it's going to be so fun.